And returning to the podcast once again this week, folks, is a returning guest and a man who watched 2 Space Jam movies in preparation for this podcast this week. Please welcome back to the show, my good friend, Mr. Sean Toney. Sean, hello, friend. How are you?
Hello. Yes, I've watched 2 whole Space Jams in preparation for this episode.
All two of them. And listen, some of those are a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. And over the past year, I did watch Looney Tunes Back in Action, which is like half a Space Jam.
Oh man, I forgot about that. Sheesh.
It's pretty good.
You know what? I don't remember. The last time I saw that movie, I think I might have been like of the age where like I was supposed to be when I saw it. That movie came out in like 2004 or something. So
I think so, like 2003.
Yeah, so I would have been in like middle school. I was very invested in Looney Tunes stock at that point in my life, and I remember liking it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Naturally, yeah, it's fun. It's definitely a different kind of feel to it than Space Jam, but not by much. But that's what we're going to talk about
today, as if you guys can tell by the title of this video, got a couple of things to talk about this week related to Space Jam: A New Legacy, the long-awaited sequel to the 1996 classic.
Is it really a sequel? That's something I want to discuss.
It's like
because here's the thing. I think it's not. I don't think that the original Space Jam existed in this one. They acknowledge it a couple times, like Bugs and Lola refer to it, but I think it's like, I don't think it's canonically in the same universe in which Space Jam 1 existed. I think it's a new Space Jam cinematic universe.
Oh man, that's a deep one. The SJCU. That's a
Yeah, the SJCU. I guess it'd be the Looney Tunes extended universe.
Oh man, that's gonna get complicated. But yeah, we'll talk about all that and a couple of other little nuggets of information this week. Of
course, that's a little tease. I'll get into.
We're getting into the meat in a second. But first, I'll ask Sean, how have you been since the last time you were on this show? We've somehow managed to survive like over 20 episodes since the last time you were on here. So
I'm real impressed with you, man. I thought you were a total goner.
Me too. Some of the comment section. Am I right?
Oh no, I've been good, man. I've been good. I've relocated. I'm now living in Queens instead of Brooklyn. I'm doing okay. You know, not too much has changed. All in all, I went back to the gym this past week for the first time, and then the second time this week after getting a tattoo in between, and my arms were tired. And I'm slowly getting ready to like resume life as normal until the Delta variant takes us all out and one more season of Koop'd Up.
Yeah, that's right. As long as
your podcast fans are probably just like, come on, one more variant so we can get more episodes of Koop'd Up.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Just let's get one more season. You know, one more.
Oh man,
one more pandemic to get us through. That's good, man. I'm glad everything's been going well.
Yeah,
Big fan of the tattoo.
Thank you very much. And I have an important question, Koopa. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Great. All things considered, I have been very busy the last couple of weeks, which is good. I'm like most other people, you know, aspects of my life that were not existent in 2020 are starting to get back off the ground again. So been doing a little bit of esports, been doing a little bit of working out, been trying to do a little bit of everything and, you know, keep my head above water. But you know, it's definitely been an odd adjustment, you know, integrating back into society after like not having to do certain things for the last year. But all in all, it's been good. And like many, I'm excited to get back to some shape of normalcy while we still, you know, combat the very real pandemic in front of us.
If any of your listeners haven't yet, go get vaccinated. It's a whole lot of fun and you feel great afterwards.
Yeah, listen. I'll put it to you this way: get a day off from work.
Yeah,
just saying.
And if you don't, we will personally kick your ass. The Koopa and Sean Dream Team, baby. I don't want to make any of these threats. That's not fair to anyone.
I'd say it edited out, but I'm going to keep it in. It's funny.
Yeah. Hold me legally responsible for my empty threats.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But no, listen, we're all doing pretty good. Again, if you guys, you know, I'm sure I'll plug Sean's social medias on the bottom of the page. Definitely compliment his tattoo. I'm a big fan of the hoagie tattoo of the possum that was your
Yeah.
friend in your previous
I
apartment.
had a possum that used to visit my old apartment. I named him Hoagie, and I got a tattoo of him about a year out from when I last saw him, which was like July of 2020.
I hope he's doing all right.
I hope so too. I hope he's alive. To be perfectly honest with you, I hate to get dark, but like I hope that little possum friend is alive.
Yeah, rumor has it he's been cast to be on the next season of The Bachelor. So,
oh, thank God.
I think he's doing.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
I think he's doing quite
Probably,
well for himself.
Maybe it'll be the second Bachelor to come out as gay. Who knows?
That would be something. Oh
yeah,
man,
that could happen.
yeah. Tune in for that episode whenever I watch a season of The Bachelor. We'll be deep into like nuclear war by the time
that'll be like the gamma variant, and you'll just be like, all right, so we're on season 9 of The Bachelor now. I got strong opinions on Jessica. I'm assuming there's a Jessica.
There's
at
always
some
a
point in The
Jessica.
Bachelor. There has to be a Jessica. Yeah.
I feel like
shout out to all the Jessicas listening right now.
Yeah. Shout out to you. If your name's Jessica, thank you for your support of this show.
Hey, if your name's Jessica, tweet at Kyle. All right, tweet at Koopa. I'll say that again. If your name's Jessica, tweet at Koopa, hashtag I am Jessica.
I'm here for it. Honestly, like I remember it was last summer, I think, that I think like Viacom and Netflix like reached some agreement where like they'll put like random seasons of like Viacom owned like reality shows on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there's like at least like 3 seasons of The Bachelor on Netflix. Like I'm not gonna watch them. But like yeah, there's like there's like 2 random seasons of like America's Next Top Model. I think RuPaul's Drag Race has had a couple seasons on Netflix randomly.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. I wonder if like The Surreal Life or Daisy of Love will be there. I don't think that was the name of Daisy's show.
No, I know what you're picking up though.
There's Rock of Love with Bret Michaels.
Yes.
And then there was a spinoff. What was the spinoff?
Was it Flavor of Love that was the spinoff?
No. They're all spinoffs of The Surreal Life. It was Daisy of Love, by the way. Because the way it works is that there was The Surreal Life, and from there, Flava Flav had a fling with Brigitte Nelson, I think her name was, and then that didn't work out. But they had a short-lived sitcom or short-lived reality series. Then it became Flavor of Love, which then shot off into I Love New York, which then shot off into Real Chance at Love. And then on the side, there was also Bret Michaels' Rock of Love. And then Daisy had Daisy of Love. And then there was also I Love Money, which brought in characters from like all the other series into this like money competition thing. And then like I think it was I Love Money, where one of the contestants ended up being a murderer and murdered someone, like not on the cast, but like murdered during production, and they had to stop that series.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty well versed on my VH1 Surreal Life cinematic universe.
It's really funny you mentioned that. I remember this story like making headlines last summer, but there's this reality show on the Food Network called The Worst Cooks in America. And there's a season of that show that was like airing like last summer, and they had to cancel the series from airing like live because the person that won the show got convicted for murder.
I mean, they weren't kidding about the worst cook.
Yeah, I was gonna say
they really they kind of nailed it. Like,
yeah, like it's like
I'd say a cook that murders is probably the worst cook. Like,
I would argue. I would definitely say that, you know.
I think it's probably some stiff competition otherwise. Yeah. Like
it's like some people have some like petty crimes.
I don't know how to temper chocolate. My cake can't rise. I cannot cook without the thrill of murder. Like
exactly. Some of those things is
no. That person is definitely the worst cook. I think they found it.
I think they did. Yeah. Like it's been definitely no secret. Like if you watch enough reality television and like there's an episode of RuPaul. There's a season of RuPaul's Drag Race that I like watched recently where
is this the one from a couple of years ago?
Yeah, there's a contestant that was like kicked off the show for like for like harassment online, and like as you watch the show, they like put this disclaimer up in the beginning of every episode. It's like, hey, this person is eliminated from competition, but they made it so deep into the show they had to edit them out, which is like hard.
Yeah, that queen ended up going very, very far into the series.
Yeah, they made it to almost to the finale, I think. There was like 2 episodes short of the finale, which is like wild.
There's also, I don't know, and this is very off topic, but I don't know if you're familiar with the bling ring. which was a group of like these socialites in Los Angeles, like in their late teenage years, early 20s, who would like break into celebrities' houses and rob them.
my
Like, he would
God.
go to like Lindsay Lohan's house and rob them. And one of them was in the middle of a reality series when she got caught, and the series took like a drastic turn about like her like legal troubles shortly thereafter.
Oh my God.
I think what was the name of that show? One second. It was an MTV series called Pretty Wild, and one of the girls on there was a member of the Bling Ring and got caught like during the production. They kept filming.
That's crazy.
Bling Ring's fascinating. That's a really I want to learn more about that. There's a movie that stars Hermione from Harry Potter. Who's that?
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson.
Wow.
Emma Thompson's someone else. Whatever. It stars Emma Watson. Apparently, it's not a good movie and it's not a fair, like, accurate depiction of what happened. But it's a fascinating part of like modern pop culture.
That's crazy. As someone that loves messy reality television, I'm here for all these stories. And one day down the line, we're getting right into the middle of my favorite season of the year, which is like bad, dumb, like hot people on an island competing for money or love.
I mean, have you done an episode on like any of the Netflix reality series?
I've talked about them in the past. I haven't done like full.
I'll throw it out there, man. If you want to like review The Circle, hit me up. I love The Circle.
Oh yeah,
that's my favorite. That's probably my favorite reality series currently like existing.
That's a good one. I watched
love The Circle.
I watched me and my girlfriend. That was one of our shows of viewing for as you know. Yeah, humble brag.
Yeah.
This episode of Koop'd is brought to you by monogamy. But
God love
it. No, that show is a fun watch. I just love stupid people on reality television. It kills me.
Yeah.
I watched we recently just watched the second season of Too Hot to Handle on Netflix.
Oh, I've only seen season 1.
Oh man, it's junk food. Just straight to the veins. It's great.
You know, one of my favorite reality series, and I'd argue it's even a documentary series, it's got to be my friends at the Jackass franchise.
Yes. That's a great.
How's that for a segue?
Great transition. Just like a real basketball player, your transition game is impeccable. But
I'm a regular Bill Murray in the third act of Space Jam.
You're gonna give the ball to Girl Bunny.
Yeah,
so good. But
Duck, Boy Bunny, Girl Bunny, Michael Jordan.
Oh man, we will definitely we'll talk about. We'll get to it. But we're going to start with the small stuff first. Yeah, obviously the big news of the past week is that Space Jam: A New Legacy dropped in theaters or HBO Max, depending on how you watch this movie last week. And it's a movie, and we'll talk about it. But something else that I picked a good week to have you on the podcast this week.
Yes, you did, my friend. Yes, you did.
The trailer for the fourth. Yeah, it's the fourth Jackass.
Yeah, the fourth Jackass Forever.
Yeah, Jackass Forever. The trailer for that dropped just the other day. We're recording this on a Wednesday, so the trailer dropped yesterday. Yeah, dropped yesterday on Tuesday. And Sean, as a Pennsylvanian, as a person that grew up in the same era of like peak MTV reality television as I did, what are your thoughts on the Jackass franchise as a whole, and how did you feel
franchise about as a whole?
Yeah, and also your thoughts on the trailer. What did you think?
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about it. I want to preface this by saying I have a degree in film. I've been working in the industry now for 5 or 6 years, maybe pushing 7. And I think that the Jackass series, and both the television series and the series of films, is the perfect depiction of the American dream. It is honest to God, it's a miracle of a series. It's so good. And it's so lowbrow, yes, but it's also like, I think probably the most profitable documentary franchise of all time. It's so fun to watch. It manages to capture like the fun of being like a young teenager, hanging out with your stupid friends, doing stupid stuff, and watching these adults do it. And it's so funny. One of my favorite things I've ever done in a theater is just gone to see Jackass 3D with a big group of my friends. And oh my God, it was so much fun. And as far as my thoughts on the trailer for Jackass Forever, I think it looks incredible. I'm so excited for Jackass Forever. The trailer made me laugh out loud. It made me get like a little bit of chills, get a little emotional. And I think over the past like year or two, I've really come to terms with the fact that I'm an unabashed like defender and fighter for the Jackass series.
Yeah, dude, I feel that so much. And like,
It's great. It's so much fun.
it really is. Like, I remember exactly, like, this is the type of television my parents did not want me watching as a kid. It was,
I get it.
I get it. Like you said, it's very lowbrow. It's very divisive. You know, obviously, it's not easy to explain to mom why Steve-O is snorting wasabi and then throwing up in the bushes.
Oh yeah, the wasabi snoodles.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's
Jackass the movie.
Yeah, Jackass. It's great stuff. But like this, like I agree. When I saw I heard there was a fourth Jackass film coming out. I was excited. You know, like, again, it's sometimes you just sometimes like not everything you have to see in the theaters. Like you said, what's right away preface was saying, I don't have a degree in film, and I've only been I have a podcast where I talk about pop culture that I like, but. I know what's entertaining. Okay, I can sit down and watch like a good piece of cinema and be intrigued by it. I can watch things like Pulp Fiction. I can watch things, you know, all the classics that people have heard.
You can watch the critically acclaimed, and then you could watch Steve-O chug beer up his ass.
Yes,
like you get both sides of the coin, baby.
Yeah, you can watch, you know, people walk through a hallway and then get hit by a giant hand and then fall over. Truly, and then laugh.
Honestly, I think that sketch is probably my favorite like prank they did in the entire series. It's so funny. It's just like it's a perfect execution. Like when they get Aaron with he's carrying the big plate of soups and then bam, hits him down there. They all lose it. It's just it's honestly the most fun kind of movie.
Yeah.
It's great.
I agree.
And something I really love that they're doing with Jackass Forever is it's kind of like a passing of the torch. Like this is the final Jackass. They're bringing on some new talent, including some women, some people of color. Like it's really exciting to see. I think in the trailer, Tyler, the Creator, and Jasper from Odd Future are both in there. Eric Andre's in there. It looks like so much fun. And I mean, I'm going to be there opening weekend, and it's supposed to open up opposite of Dune.
Yes.
It was going to open opposite of Last Night in Soho, but that got bumped. And then also The French Dispatch. And I guarantee you that it will outperform Dune and Last Dispatch handedly.
I feel confident saying that too.
Those movies make so much money.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot about Jackass Forever and reading some interviews with Johnny Knoxville, and I think it's a fun little tidbit of how they approach the idea of Jackass 4. Essentially, after they filmed the third one, every time Knoxville had an idea for a Jackass stunt, he would email it to himself with the subject line Jackass 4 idea. Until eventually he had enough, and he just went up to the director, Jeff Tremaine, and was like, I have this stuff. What do you think? Is there anything we could do with it? And he goes, I think we have to make this movie now. And I'm all in. It's going to be great. I think it looks like so much fun. The trailer made me laugh out loud multiple times. Like, I don't know what else you could want. Like, it's the first time in so long that I'm actually genuinely excited to go see a movie.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And again, just kind of like looking through like, you know, the box office performances of these movies.
They crush.
They kill it. It's like you said, people love this stuff. And again, we both grew up in an era where this was all over television. It's like the second golden era of MTV, where you'd get shows like Jackass and Viva La Bam and like these like, you know, crazy extreme stunt shows. I have vivid memories of watching Wild Boys growing up. Like all the spin-off shows of Jackass were phenomenal. This show was just kind of like ever circling around my life. And like, you know, granted, I was never inspired to, you know, jump out of a second story window, you know, covered head to toe in honey and feathers. No, but like, it's still a lot of fun to watch. And you see some of the stunts they do it in this movie. It still makes me laugh. Like, you know, they even say in the trailer, you know, Chris Pontius is like, yeah, you know, what's Jackass gonna look like when we're older? We're gonna get a little bit more mature. And even then, I'm just like, no, like, I'm still laughing as hard now as I did, you know, 10, 15 years ago when I was staying up late to watch the show, you know, at risk of getting in trouble for it. Like, I'm with you. I am so excited to see this movie.
So when you go see it, listener, be sure to watch it with a large group of friends, because it's the best way to experience the Jackass movies is in a large group. Or at least go see it in a theater and like just like be in a communal experience of watching Jackass for the first time. It's a blast.
Yeah, they're definitely, and again, like if I forget, is this also launching in conjunction on like a streaming service or not?
No, this one is strictly theaters.
That's right. Okay, yeah, okay, because it's
the way to see it.
Yeah,
I with these movies that are coming out, I'm kind of picking and choosing which ones I want to go see in a theater. Jackass, I need to see in a theater opening weekend. Space Jam: A New Legacy, I decided I'm not going to spend any extra money on this.
Yes, I feel that. There's like a handful of those movies where like, I've definitely been picking and choosing. I don't think once have I gone back to the movies since I've gotten my second shot. I don't think I have yet because there hasn't really been anything like compelling for me to go to.
Yeah.
So like,
I think my friends who have been going out recently, I haven't gone out in a few months to a movie. I want to go soon because I love going to the movies. But people have been seeing Black Widow.
yeah, that was gonna be the one for me,
People-
but like I feel guilty like not seeing those. Not guilty. It's just like I like to see those movies, like you mentioned. It's a communal experience at this
Yeah,
point. So like
yeah.
as much as I enjoy like watching a movie by myself, I can do that from my home. I'm not gonna like pay movie theater price to sit in the theater by myself.
Oh, I will. I got no problem doing that. It's honestly like one of my favorite things to do.
To each their own. I will say though, one time I did have a day off from work, and I did catch like an early morning viewing of a movie. And so, like, I brought.
Oh yeah, matinee.
Yeah, I had a matinee, had some coffee.
Ooh,
like it was
yes.
dope.
It's a delight.
Yeah, the last movie I did see though, in theaters, I think it was for my birthday. Aforementioned girlfriend, by the way, brought to you by Monogamy. She rented out a theater. We watched Back to the Future in theaters.
Oh, so. what a beautiful gift.
Yeah, my favorite movie of
the
all
last
time.
one I watched. It's a great movie. It's a masterpiece in my eyes. I think the last movie that I saw in theaters, it was the Sparks Brothers, the documentary that Edgar Wright did on the band Sparks. At a drive-in movie theater, however, it was F9, the ninth installation of the Fast and Furious franchise.
That's right. You just wanted to binge those movies.
Oh yeah, I watched all of them. That's for another episode.
Yeah, well that's a whole other podcast. Like
that's a whole other episode.
What we're gonna have to do like a case study on family and how important it is.
I mean it's the saving grace of those movies.
Yeah, well, we will
another tease. Listen. This is all just planting seeds to bring me back on for more episodes.
Naturally, of course, that's the case. But yeah, listen, like we mentioned, Jackass Forever opens up in theaters on I had the date
it's
right.
In October,
yeah, October 22nd, 2021.
That sounds right. Yeah, right before Halloween.
Yeah, listen, check it out. Like you mentioned,
some last second Halloween costume ideas.
I gotta say, I'm like, it's definitely a little jarring to see how everybody has aged. Like Johnny Knoxville definitely is like aged.
He's been dyeing his hair for years though.
Yeah. Because it's weird. Like, there's so many sequences of the movie where, like, you see him with, like, jet black hair, but then there's also, ones without his hair dyed at all.
Yeah, he has his silver fox.
Yeah. I think the look.
Silver fox, that Mr. Knoxville. And can I offer another segue?
Please, go right ahead.
I would argue that Johnny Knoxville is the closest thing we have to a Bugs Bunny.
In real life. You know what?
Yeah,
that's a great comparison. I know,
right? Like I don't know. Let me know if there's another one, but for my money's worth, Johnny Knoxville's the closest thing we have to a Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. So Jackass Forever gets the Koop'd recommendation of go see this movie when it comes out in a few months. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your favorite Jackass skit is in the comment section down below.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are that's pretty much the most newsiest stuff in that that appeals to this neck of the woods this week. Now we get to move on to the fun stuff, the cool stuff, the Space Jam
Fun's
stuff.
a word.
Yeah,
fun is a choice.
Fun is a choice, as like we mentioned, the aforementioned Space Jam. A New Legacy. This movie is
because we were all talking about how the first one had a legacy in its own right. This one, it's natural that this one was called Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Yeah, dude. So here's this is a editing note for me here at the what's the recording mark at right here? Just at this point 24-minute mark. Put in a spoiler warning here. Very we are going to talk about Space Jam: A New Legacy in its fullness. So
okay, great. Because I got a lot to say.
So take that in whichever context you want. Obviously, like we mentioned, Space Jam: A New Legacy is a standalone sequel to the 1996 cult classic Space Jam, directed by Malcolm D. Lee. It stars, instead of Michael Jordan, it stars Los Angeles Lakers power forward LeBron James. LeBron James. This movie was also produced by LeBron James, Ryan Coogler.
LeBron James.
Yeah. You can't not do it, man. It's too good. This film also stars Don Cheadle, Chris Davis.
Cheadle.
Oh, It's good. Oh, that's so good.
Uh,
Don Cheadle, Chris Davis, Sonequa Martin Green, Cedric Jones, Jeff Bergman, and featuring the voices of Eric Bauza and Zendaya, who
yes.
get top billing in this movie. So yeah, like we mentioned, this movie. There's a lot to talk about it, so I'll just ask you off the cuff, Sean. We'll do a quick non-spoiler talk
sure,
down first. What are your non-spoiler thoughts on Space Jam: A New Legacy?
I really didn't like it at all. And here's the thing: I'm not gonna make fun of people who do like it. My problems with it almost exclusively lie with the studio, not I'll explain. I don't want to make it seem like I'm being like, this movie makes no sense. Like the first Space Jam doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
When I watched this movie, I texted my co-hosts of my podcast, LALA, Don't Mind If I Do, Cameron and Jared. I said, this is a joyless husk of a movie. I really had a bad time. It bummed me out.
Honestly,
how about you? Please, if you have an altering opinion, please enlighten me.
I don't have much of a different opinion than you do.
Great.
Here's the thing. My bar for enjoyment in a movie is usually very low.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm not snooty by any means in the movies that I like.
Yeah.
I can enjoy. I just went on a whole tangent about loving Jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the first Space Jam. I think it's a fun movie. I did not enjoy Space Jam: A New Legacy at all.
No, I'm with you with this movie. I really wanted to like it. Like I mentioned, the Looney Tunes have been I didn't really realize it until I was talking about this movie and doing some research on just everything in general. And also going back to watch the original Space Jam, but the Looney Tunes have been such a foundational part of my childhood and my personality.
Oh,
yeah. I grew up on so many of these cartoons. I loved Space Jam. Looney Tunes Back in Action was a fun movie as well. And even then I've gone back and watched a couple of the new Looney Tunes shorts that are on HBO.
Oh, they're great. They're great. That's the most frustrating thing is the new Looney Tunes franchise or the new Looney Tunes series on HBO Max is genuinely good.
Yeah. And
it's funny. I think Eric Bauza was his name.
Yes.
That's the new voice actor they have for the majority of the tunes. He's wonderful. I think he does a great job.
Yeah, no, he's great. And it kind of drove when this movie was announced, people were going back and watching older Looney Tunes properties. I am very fond of the Looney Tunes sitcom show that aired on Cartoon Network.
The one that was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, that show is so funny.
That had Kristen Wiig as Lola Bunny.
Yes, it was amazing. Yeah. It was so funny.
Weird choice, but it worked. Yeah,
I dug it real hard. And like I mentioned, I love the original Space Jam, and we both watched that film. I
watched it last night in preparation.
As did I. And no, this movie, like you mentioned, it's a lifeless husk of a movie. It was not there's. I laughed a couple times. It's definitely a broken clock, is right twice a day sort of laughter.
And there were things that I liked about the movie. I actually wrote them out. I have 5 points that I thought were really good about Space Jam: A New Legacy. If you don't mind me going into
it. So here's one slide. Last spoiler warning before you.
Yeah, last spoiler. I am going to spoil Space Jam.
So go ahead and talk about the things you liked about this movie.
All right. I got 5 things that I liked about this movie. Number 1, the animation is great.
Yes.
Honestly, going back and watching the original, there are so many times where the Looney Tunes just kind of freeze up. The spectators are literal animated GIFs. This time, I feel like the animation of the Looney Tunes themselves, both in 2D and 3D, feels very lifeful. It feels very lived in. It's very fun to watch them. Point number 2. I thought LeBron James is twice the actor that Michael Jordan was.
Yes, I agree.
I think LeBron did a good, given what I expected out of him, LeBron met my expectations on his performance. The only gray area is his monotone screaming.
But even then, Michael Jordan did the same thing in Space Jam.
They straight up in the scene where the Monstars turn Michael Jordan into a ball, they straight up bring in a different voice actor to voice Michael Jordan screaming. It's so funny. The third point I did is I thought Zendaya did a good job as Lola Bunny. I thought she was, at no point was I like, this seems off. It was a fun choice. 4, the scene where LeBron's friend has to talk to the security guard about losing LeBron was very funny. And 5, my last point, they included WNBA players. Cool.
Yes, no, I thought that was awesome. The addition of
that's fun.
yeah, because like obviously, what made Space Jam so much fun as a movie to begin with is seeing players like Muggsy Bogues and Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley, like not they're legitimate like players in that movie.
I'll say this. Barkley legitimately has some comedic chops, and I think if it wasn't for the fact that Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan, I think Charles Barkley would have been a great choice to be the lead in Space Jam.
You're not Charles Barkley. You're just some guy that looks like him.
Oh, that scene really makes me sad. But we're not talking about Space Jam. We're talking about Space Jam.
And obviously, like I mentioned, other NBA players that make appearances in the movie include Anthony Davis of the also Los Angeles Lakers, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers, Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors.
I knew that one.
Yep, Nneka Ogwumike of, I believe she plays on the Los Angeles Sparks. Yep, that is correct. Mm-hmm. And Diana Taurasi, who also formerly of the Phoenix Mercury. There we go.
Phoenix Mercury, of course.
One of the best in the biz. Big fan of Diana Taurasi. But those they are this version's this movie's baddies, known as the Goon Squad.
Terrible.
Yeah. Oh boy, that was rough.
So how do you want to approach this? Do you want to break down the plot, or do you want to just like go into the stuff that we didn't like?
Let's talk about let's give like a synopsis of the plot, because I think that's where these two films differ the hardest. Which is
So in this movie, there is a living, breathing, anthropomorphic algorithm inside of Warner Brothers servers known as the Serververse. That of course is Don Cheadle's character Al G Rhythm. And he has an assistant named Phil. No idea why his little assistant
Pete.
Is animated.
His name's Pete.
Pete, you're right. It's Pete, not Phil.
I have another note that I like.
No idea why Pete. Like, is that a pun of some kind that I'm just not getting?
I couldn't tell you.
But here's the thing that my first confusing thing is because like the closest thing you could compare him to from the original is Danny DeVito's character, who's animated. Why isn't Al G Rhythm an animated character?
Yeah.
I mean, he partially is in some scenes. I was just like, that's not fun. So what happens is Al G Rhythm's like, aha, I got it. I'm going to get LeBron James to enter my algorithm. And they don't really explain why. It's just like, so he ends up tricking LeBron James, who, by the way, in the opening scene of this movie, if you remember the opening scene of the original Space Jam with Michael Jordan and his father playing hoops in the backyard, this one is LeBron James being yelled at for being a gamer. He is playing Looney Tunes for the Game Boy, and he gets yelled at, and he's like, "You're right, I gotta stop being a gamer." And I think he literally throws his Game Boy in the garbage.
It's true, it does happen, and my heart sank.
It's insane. It's so dumb. Like, why throw it away? I get like the really dramatic imagery, but also just like, I don't know, that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So then it flashes forward to the modern day, where it goes through a montage of LeBron's career, similar to the Michael Jordan montage in the original. And then you find out that LeBron's two sons are playing basketball, and the one doesn't want to go to basketball. He wants to go to an E3 Gamers Camp, which is sponsored by the Electronic Entertainment Expo, the big gaming expo every year. They're sponsoring this movie, and therefore they are a gaming summer camp.
Very jarring to see like that as a major focal point in this movie.
I wasn't sure if it was like E3 until I saw the logo.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then what happens is Al G Rhythm, through some hook or crook, catches wind of LeBron James. And he's like, I got it. We need him in the Serververse. So he sends out an email to Sarah Silverman, who I think is playing a character and not herself, and a few other people to bring LeBron and his son to Warner Brothers to pitch this idea of like, look, you could be in all these different movies, all these different IPs inside the Serververse that Warner Brothers owns, like Harry Potter and The Matrix and Game of Thrones, which, like, here's my next question. Who is this movie for? Because kids aren't, like, watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Kids also aren't watching Casablanca or Austin Powers.
No, they're not. Also to add, not only is it Sarah Silverman playing a cameo as a Warner Brothers exec, Stephen Yeun from The Walking Dead also.
Oh, right, Stephen Yeun.
Yeah, which is a wild of,
One of my favorite performances from last year in Minari into just a weird cameo that has maybe like 5 shots.
Yep. Also in Invincible, great show as well.
Haven't seen Invincible yet. I would like
a lot of fun. Highly recommended.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Eventually, so Algae Rhythm, and if any point you want to jump in, please let me know if I'm just talking.
No, you're good. Keep going.
Algae Rhythm ends up. LeBron doesn't like it, and Algae Rhythm gets offended, so he ends up tricking them into entering the serververse. In which case, he essentially grooms LeBron's son into being his own personal project, and sends LeBron deeper into the serververse to find a basketball team to play him to get his son back. And he is sent to the Toon World.
Yeah, that's
this is it, right? That's the plot so far.
That's pretty much it. And I gotta say, listen, again, it's gonna be you're asking a NBA star at the peak of their fame to interact with the Looney Tunes. So of course it's going to get a little ridiculous. Like you said, like,
of course,
these movies are supposed to be weird, but the way that just something about how Space Jam goes, the original Space Jam goes about it just feels very different in this movie. I counted, we went 25, 30 minutes into this movie without seeing a single Looney Tune.
Oh, it's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And then the game starts an hour into the movie.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Which is crazy. Yeah, so the first one is 88 minutes long, and also I want to give context to how in the first one, because I was watching and I was questioning did the first Space Jam have more logical sense? And essentially the first one, it is these aliens from Moron Mountain. Their theme park is not doing well and needs to get a new attraction, and they find the Looney Tunes by flipping through the channels on TV. They then go to the Looney World and they're like, hey, we need you guys to be our slaves to perform at our theme park. And they're like, okay. And they are like, we're not going to do that. They hold up guns. They have this conference, and then they end up tricking them into having some kind of competition in order to get their slavery, in their indentured servitude. And then they're like, well, these aliens are short. They're tiny. Let's play them in basketball. And then the aliens are like, basketball. Okay. They go back into the real world, go into the Madison Square Garden, take the powers of Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, then go to other arenas to steal these things, come back as giants. And then the Looney Tunes are like, we need help. So they kidnap Michael Jordan, because in the first one, the Looney Tunes world is at the core of the earth.
Yes.
Not in the serververse, which is why I think they're separate movies. They're not sequels.
Yeah, I just wanted to. It's something I wrote down on my notes when I was watching Space Jam last night. Is that like you mentioned, in Space Jam: A New Legacy, the Toon World exists within the Warner Brothers serververse, whereas in Space Jam it is underneath the parking lot of a Piggly Wiggly in Chicago. Which is great. It's hilarious,
super funny,
it's great. But yeah, and I think you brought up another big point of why this movie feels like such a mess, and it's because
it's aimless.
Yeah,
there's no consequences yet, other than LeBron's son. But then it's you need to make a basketball team. They go to the Looney Tunes world, and it's hey, I need to make a basketball team. And he's like, all right, I'll get the players, Doc. And it's but also the Looney Tunes have no reason to do it. But I'm sorry, I cut you off. Is there anything else you want to throw in there?
No,
even further down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well played. I was just gonna say, like you mentioned at the top, they really hammer on the serververse, and I can't help but feel like this is some ninth degree separation from everyone trying to set up some sort of cinematic universe, because
Hanna-Barbera's doing it. Disney's done it with Marvel. Star Wars' cinematic universe.
Yeah, and it's just so it feels so heavy-handed, like you mentioned. You're seeing, especially when they give the pitch to LeBron James, just you could be LeBron James as a king of the North or whatever. They put him on the Iron Throne, or they put him fighting Batman, and I'm just what?
Joking that there's this huge IP crossover in a movie that there is an IP crossover doesn't excuse the fact that you're doing it.
Yeah.
It still needs to be done with tactfulness. But I will say, in entering Toon World by going through the serververse, I did have my first moment that made me roll my eyes, which is they're going through, you pass by a map of Game of Thrones on a globe. And that's the Game of Thrones world. And they pass by the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, not the theme park, but the actual Hogwarts world.
Yes.
Pass by there. Pass by Casablanca, which has this big billboard that says Casablanca. Then my favorite one, it passes by a black globe with some green digital things on it that just says The Matrix.
Yeah.
like they couldn't be bothered to add any like geographic like keystones or like landmarks from the Matrix. They just wrote the Matrix. Like, you get it. It's the Matrix. It's so lazy.
Yeah, it's I definitely like scoffed at that, and then but then like you mentioned, you get to the we were about half an hour into the movie at this point, and then you finally get to see LeBron James animated as Looney Tune, and that, like we mentioned at the top, the animation,
it's good,
it's great, it looks so good, and
LeBron as a Looney Tune is very fun to watch, and I will say this part of the movie I enjoyed when he eventually gets to Toon World, because the idea of Bugs Bunny being alone in Toon World and going crazy is enough for a movie in itself.
It's so good.
It's funny, and like you get introduced immediately to like the rules of Toon World as far as like physics go, and but then like essentially while they're in Toon World, it's revealed like LeBron's like, hey, I need to make a basketball team, and it's like, I got it. It's like, where are all the other Looney Tunes? It's like, oh, I like what happens is algorithm took them and put them on these other different servers, and it's like, is LeBron's like, okay, well, we need to get them. And the way that they leave the Looney Tune world, I thought was very funny.
Was so good. I laughed so hard.
It's a very funny joke.
Like, I knew exactly where they were going, where Bugs was like, I claimed this planet in the name of Oath. And then I was just like, oh, they're doing the bit. And then, you get to see Marvin the Martian. He's like, I claimed this planet in the name of Mars. That's gotta work.
Classic Marvin bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
So good. It was super, super funny. And I also enjoyed that. And but then again, the film goes, just from being very reserved in the Looney Tunes IP to then LeBron James being like, okay, like who can I use? Oh, let's get the Iron Giant. Yeah. Godzilla, Superman.
Iron Giant. Like King Kong couldn't get a better center. And for some reason that's never really explained, Bugs is not sure that that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Bugs is like, I don't know. Is it because they don't respect him? It's not really explained as far as I can remember.
Does Bugs
it's just
owe
like
the money
LeBron's
or something?
LeBron's like, oh yeah, let's get Superman, let's get Iron Giant, and Bugs is like, yeah. And then it's revealed, I think I know what it is. Bugs is secretly taking LeBron's mission. This is not really fully explained. He is using it as a way to get all of his friends back, because they were separated from him on Looney Tunes World. So here's another problem I have, is that they don't really, after that's done, that's like the end of those consequences of like Bugs misses his friends. It's like, I miss my friends. Where are they? I'm going to use this as an opportunity to get them back. Why didn't he do this sooner if he could just take Marvin the Martian spaceship at any given time? But whatever.
Yeah.
Then, so they start recruiting people. They go to the DC world. It's animated, which I loved seeing the animated DC characters. That's very fun. Daffy and Porky are there. That's a lot of fun. And they recruit Daffy and Porky and not Superman. And then, but when Daffy and Porky see Bugs, there's no like, Bugs, how have you been? We missed you. It's just like business as usual. And it's like, you've been missing your friends for years and you have nothing to say to catch up with them.
Yeah, no, I also
that like that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I found that strange. They definitely montage past a lot of this, and again, it just feels like very shameless, like IP placement, like you said. Like I thought it was fun, like you mentioned, to see LeBron James as Robin, or like or like the bit where like it's like, that's Harry Potter, a Hufflepuff. I knew it. Like I thought that was funny.
I thought that was I actually have a problem with that one, which is like Harry Potter is the world that people want to see the most, and it's just a passing gag. I wonder if that is a reason that like whoever owns the Harry Potter IP, whether it be J.K. Rowling or someone else, was like, no, we're not letting you do that, because they're not even represented in that big fight scene or the big game at the end. But here's what. All right, so I'll just do a quick rundown of which character is in which universe. So that's the first one. Mm-hmm. Then it cuts to them getting Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote out of the Mad Max universe, which I thought was very fun. Also,
yes,
I thought that was a lot of fun just seeing them together. And then they leave there, and it's like, they're on the plane again, and it's like, we need to get some players. Hard cut to Austin Powers saying, yeah, baby, yeah, right at the camera. And I'm like, oh shit, are we about to have like a whole like scene in the Austin Powers universe? Not really. So Elmer Fudd is Mini-Me, and then Sylvester the Cat is Mr. Bigglesworth. They then cuts to them on the ship. And then it goes to Casablanca, which is like, why are you doing Casablanca? Kids don't know what Casablanca is.
Yeah.
Apparently in theaters it didn't play well. It's all a joke to get Yosemite Sam on the team. Yosemite Sam joins, and then it cuts to the third one.
Is it The Matrix?
No. There's one before The Matrix.
What was it?
No, it's Rick and Morty returning Taz.
Yes. Which
oh my god, what was that? Like, I'm just
that was the most jarring to me. Like, a lot of what I was doing with this movie was like me trying to like piece together. It's like, wait, is that Warner Brothers IP? Is that also Warner Brothers IP? And then I saw, you see Rick and Morty show up, and like that's voiced by Justin Roiland. Like,
yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure animated by the Rick and Morty staff as well because it looks exactly like the show.
Yeah, so I was just like, wait, is it? And then I'm just like, oh well, it's owned by the Cartoon Network company, which is a subsection of the Warner Brothers Animation. So I'm just like, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's just like, really, like it felt so out of place. And this is coming from someone who loves Rick and Morty, but it's still very, very weird.
It's super out of place. And then it cuts to them going into Matrix world. Where Granny is Neo, and I think Speedy Gonzalez, voiced by Gabriel Iglesias in this movie, which that was a fun choice.
Agreed, love it.
He is there. He's also there, and then they recruit Granny, who fair to her, she got promoted from cheerleader to featured player in this movie because there's a lot of Granny.
Yeah, they were really pushing
Granny prominently featured in this movie. And then it's like, well, we're missing one stop. Play it, Doc, and it's of course Lola, who is in the Wonder Woman world, which is for some reason separate from the DC world.
I thought that was very strange. Also to mention,
right,
the voice of Wonder Woman in this film, Rosario Dawson, who has been playing her in the cartoon. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, great choice. So then Lola has a big scene establishing that like Lola is like, she's like Wonder Woman. She's a badass. And then they got Lola on there, and it's like, okay, do you guys know how to play basketball? And it's like, we already established this in the first movie, which I guess doesn't exist, whatever. So they have to learn basketball. And you know how in the first one, like there's probably like a 10-minute scene of them like getting ready and learning how to play basketball, them going into the real world to, get LeBron's or Michael's stuff.
Yes.
In this movie, it's like maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah, it definitely felt very sizzle reel.
Over so quickly.
Yeah, it was and then it was so
pretty much shortly after then, there is a cut to the big game. Algae Rhythm shows up with his goon squad, who are players that were in LeBron's son, Dom's video game, which he is making based off of other NBA and WNBA players, but he captured them on his phone and with pictures and video in for some reason, fully filled arena in the middle of the court. Not during a game. And then the game starts, and they fill it in with all these other, like every other Warner Brothers IP known to man that shows up, and it becomes, as my friend Jared said, a game of Where's Waldo, of you being completely distracted from the actual movie by trying to figure out who's in the background, aside from Pennywise, who's prominently featured.
And Batman and Robin.
Pennywise has more screen time than Taz.
Yeah, dude. This is the part of the movie that like bugged me the most. I was watching this movie, and I'm just like, I saw that in the trailer, and initially I'm just like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's a fun little like IP bit, but like these are people like actually,
it's super distracting.
It's very distracting. It's not just like CG'd people. It's real people like dressed up as these actors. You see, like you mentioned, Pennywise is the one that stood out the most. There's White Walkers from Game of Thrones. There's a not penguin, like it was like a not Danny DeVito penguin.
There's the Clockwork Orange characters,
which was that's a whole
bad choice,
terrible choice.
But like as far as animated go, you have Jabberjaw, King Kong, Magilla Gorilla, the Animaniacs, like they're all there.
Yeah, and all that's fine, but like I mentioned, like there's scenes where like you literally see like Batman and Robin in the background, and I'm just like, it's not like it's very clearly like 60s Batman and Robin. It's so distracting. It bothered me so much.
And you want to watch it for people are not watching to see the Warner Brothers IP. They didn't even have to include another IP outside of Looney Tunes, and it would have done just as well.
Yeah.
Here's my first punch up that I have for the movie. Actually, I have two. Number one, which I think could be applied throughout the whole movie. Why on earth did they not get the Quad City DJs to make one more song?
Yeah,
the Quad City DJs made one of the most famous songs to any movie ever in I guess it's called the Space Jam.
Yeah.
The song. And it's a huge hit. It's a popular song. Quad City DJs were everywhere. People associate their sound. All of their songs get associated with Space Jam. They're not there. The second problem I have is the commentators they choose for this, which I love. Lil Rel Howley, I think he's hilarious. I think he's going to be a huge movie star. I love him. Why did they not get the inside the NBA guys for this?
It was an odd choice.
Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, who's it? Kenny?
Yeah, Kenny the Jet Smith, big fan.
Yeah, and then who's the fourth?
Well, the fourth one was the other guy that they had.
He was there. So then why not have the inside the NBA guys? You get Charles Barkley to play like this role of like, this feels familiar.
Yeah,
and like
to only get Ernie Johnson.
Elmer's playing is terrible.
That's terrible. Yeah, like to only get Ernie Johnson was an odd choice. Like again,
and Lil Rel's there, and they honestly, the commentators add literally nothing.
Yeah,
they don't even add commentary. Like they are there solely for the fact that like recognize these people. That's it.
Yeah, it was.
And I got a third punch up.
Go for it.
So in the first movie, the big thing is that Bill Murray saves the day towards the end of the movie. I'm not saying bring in Bill Murray. I'm saying bring in who is this generation's Bill Murray. A comedian that their fathers and mothers and whoever else loves, their older family members love. One who is associated with playing basketball. They should have shelled out money to get Adam Sandler in this movie.
Oh, man.
To play that like schlubby dude who's just in it for a couple scenes. And just get some Adam Sandler in there.
Or even then, I had a similar punch up where I'm just like,
go for
it. Because I was thinking about the same thing. I'm just like, who they could have gotten somebody else to like be like, the closer for this movie. And my brain immediately went to Kevin Hart because like
he would have been great. They even shouted him out in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I'm
sorry, halfway through the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was just like, this role of like the Bill Murray role could have easily been filled by like by Kevin Hart, Adam Sandler.
Honestly, Lil Rel Howley could have done.
Yeah, I agree.
It could have been any number of people. It could have been Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah.
It could have been Aquafina. It could have been anyone else to kind of give LeBron any other living person to work off of.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets some kind of veteran like Kevin Hart who has a rapport with LeBron James, or Adam Sandler who I'm sure has a rapport with LeBron James.
Yeah, and that's another point about this movie that I felt like was like lost a lot, is that it's at least in the original Space Jam, like Michael Jordan had a lot of Wayne Knight to play off of, and like LeBron.
And what a choice! Oh, by the way, I looked up. Do you know who they tried to cast as Wayne Knight before they got to that? The three people who turned it down before Wayne Knight said yes.
No, I actually don't.
It was Michael J. Fox,
that would have been
Chevy Chase.
Oh wow!
And Jason Alexander. They tried to get all three of those. They all passed. They got to Wayne Knight, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And Wayne Knight kills it in Space Jam.
Something about Michael J. Fox as like as
weird choice. Would he have gotten inflated and a fart joke would have happened? Probably not. Okay, so the Goon Squad match happens. I'm sorry, were you making a point?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, like, I was just going to add on to that point, like you mentioned, like having another human for Johnny Knoxville, for LeBron James to play off of. Like you mentioned, like he had a lot of Wayne Knight to play off of, like when they're practicing in the actual game. And the only other person that's there that's a human outside of Don Cheadle is LeBron James' son, and like that whole thing gets resolved in an odd way. But like I feel like this movie was significantly lacking like another human. Like they needed that. Like like if the assistant that they casted was like not just like a no-name actor that lost LeBron James, like that could have been like a fun wrinkle as well. Like literally
like any other living person aside from a child and Don Cheadle.
Yes.
So they start playing the game. Don James is playing with the Goon Squad, which is the Goon Squad is comprised of like video game versions of all these characters that are like snakes and robot people and all this other stuff. Like the first movie, the tunes get dominated in the first round. Then they go to halftime and they have this big relief and realization. Well, first there's a funny joke with Michael B. Jordan.
I thought that was hilarious, personally.
It was a very funny joke. It's like, guys, I got him. Michael Jordan. It's Michael B. Jordan. And he's just like, hey guys, good luck out there. Bye. And that's it. And then it's like, what? Oh, also, I forgot to mention this. The stakes for the Looney Tunes are if they lose the game, they get deleted.
Yes.
Which is brought in literally halfway through the movie. And it's like, oh, the Looney Tunes have a reason to play this game. Other than just like out of kindness for LeBron James.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, sure, that's a reason in itself, but whatever. Then what happens is they start playing the game. and they're going to play it loony. And this is where I really started to hate this movie. Because I'm like, loony jokes, they could be good, but here's the problem. Almost every joke outside of the slapstick one is literally just made up of reciting memes and references.
Yes.
It's like Granny saying, haters gonna hate, and like one of the characters saying winning after dunking, someone saying you mad bro after dunking, and it's like, or just like these references, and it's like, Bugs Bunny, like that could pretty much be a punchline. And they're so then they start having more fun, and LeBron's son joins them. And also at some point there's just a rap battle.
That was weird.
That sucked so much.
That was so
like,
weird.
It's also like 10 years past the point of irony.
Yeah.
Like, it was ironic 10 years ago. It's no longer ironic. It's just hack. It's fucking tired.
Yeah.
And it's this rap scene where Porky Pig raps, and they're all dressed in hip-hop clothing and doing hip-hop dances.
Do you think this was like a deep cut joke to like the hip-hop Looney Tunes shirts?
Guarantee you it wasn't. That's too much thought and care. This was. I saw a comedian refer to this movie as a movie where every single executive note got passed through. Like every single note they got from production and from like producers, it was just like, yeah, we're gonna add that. So there's this scene, and it's the notorious PIG. And it's just this rap, and like it's LeBron going like, oh, and then at one point Tweety Bird does like the super hot fire, like run in front of the camera, pulling down your cheeks reaction, and it's just memes. It's just memes.
Yeah.
It's instead of jokes, why use jokes when other people have written the jokes already and everyone knows what the punchlines are?
Yeah.
It's hack. It's so boring.
Yeah.
And then I'll just kind of summarize the ending of the game. The LeBron's son switches teams because he sees that LeBron's having more fun with the tunes than he is with the Goon Squad. The Goon Squad then has Algae Rhythm join the game, and they start cheating to win. And then in order to beat the game, they recreate a glitch that was happening in the first act of the movie when LeBron's playing his son's video game. And it's like, I'll do it. I'll beat the glitch. And it's like, but LeBron, you could disappear. You could kill the game. And LeBron's like, that won't happen to me. I'm not a tune. So then they're like, okay. And then, so they're about to do this thing. Bugs steals the ball from LeBron and does the glitchy jump and wins the game after LeBron like does a dunk off of that. And they win. Hooray. They're reunited with their family. The non-tunes leave. And then it cuts to what I think is the funniest scene in the entire movie, and it was not meant to be funny at all. Truly the most insane thing to happen in Looney Tunes, Space Jam: A New Legacy, is the death of Bugs.
I literally
Koopa, take it away.
I literally have written down in a note, and this is the part of the movie where like
we gotta talk about this because this is the scene.
Yeah,
of the movie
I was watching this movie with my girlfriend, and at this point in the movie, we're both like hands on our faces, like mouth all the way open, like what the actual fuck is happening right now? Like I have written down in a note when I was watching this movie, Bugs Bunny fucking dies, and I was just like, what? Like, cause like I said, they mentioned the glitch, very early in the movie, and I'm just like, oh god, like, are they gonna fucking pay this off like later? Like, and then like they mention it, and Bugs just like, they're just like, Bugs, no, don't do it. And
I have the dialogue written down where they finally bring back the fact that Bugs has been lonely, which they really don't play on that much.
No.
I feel like there has to be deleted scenes that really sell that point through, and if they were added, the movie would have been better. Bugs says, "We did it. We're all together. That's all, folks." And then turns into stars and goes into the sky in a big Bugs Bunny silhouette. Lola Bunny's crying. All these other characters are crying. And it cuts to the next scene. There's no punchline. They just straight up kill Bugs Bunny.
It was
no punchline. They just straight up, they show you this hero's death of a beloved American icon.
It was so ridiculous, and like not even like a good kind of ridiculous.
I literally screamed when that happened. I just said, I'm gonna turn away from the mic. Let's see how good this is. I just went, what? I freaked out. I was just like, this cannot be real.
Yeah, it was just like, I was just like, there's no way this is how like the movie's gonna end like this. Like, come on, they can't.
Then it cuts to the LeBron dropping his son off at E3 camp. And then Bugs shows up and it's like, Bugs, you're alive. And it's like, yeah, I told you, a Toon can't be hurt. So it's like, okay, but his body like turned into dust. Like
that I literally got up out of my chair and walked away. I'm just like, no.
And then it's
I can't
like,
do this.
hey, can I stay with you for a little bit? We could have Taco Tuesday.
And
then it's like, I have all my friends to stay with me too, and they don't show the friends. And then they roll credits, and that is I guess during the credit scene they show LeBron hanging out with the Toons further.
Yeah, and I didn't watch the entirety of the credits, but I did.
Oh no, I was so mad that I just turned.
I actually read something on the Wikipedia page while I'm looking at this,
Please.
but Bill Murray does make a cameo in the credits.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he's there. He's in a photo playing golf with Bugs Bunny.
So hold on. So then, did Space Jam 1 happen or not?
I guess, dude, it's weird. Like they mentioned, like you said, they mentioned that they played basketball once, 15 years ago.
It's literally like Lola and Bugs looking at the camera and addressing the audience in a total fourth wall break.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's so dumb, and it's just like this. It's this streaming company. Also, I guess like Algae Rhythm's whole scheme was to get everyone on Earth to live in the serververse. And then something happens.
Yeah.
Because it's not clear at all. There has to be deleted scenes from this movie, which, by the way, is a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, it's longer than the original Space Jam.
It is 30 minutes longer than the original Space Jam.
Weird choice.
It's a third longer. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's just this, again, like, it's just Warner Brothers patting themselves on the back for having all these IPs, and no jokes, just memes, and, like, it's just... LeBron did good, Zendaya did good, but it's like there could have been a better script. There could have been a script that like actually said something other than like don't trust algorithms, which by the way Warner Brothers absolutely uses to market things towards you. Every company does. It's just a matter of fact now.
Yeah.
And it's like look at how good the WB library is. Please buy HBO Max.
Yeah. It was like we've talked about a lot throughout the podcast, but yeah, this movie feels so lifeless and like product placement-y, and like you said, like everything feels so stilted and like meme heavy. Like I think because you essentially the game plays out the exact same way it does in Space Jam. They're getting their asses kicked at halftime. Yeah. They have some there's a MacGuffin or something that like gets them to like pull through, which is like and then they start playing like Looney Tunes in the second half of the game, like but like there's none of that humor and that wit like you mentioned. Like there's no nice butt, there's I want to stay home and make cookies with you, there's no like
that. Do you remember in the first Space Jam when like the little mouse character gets tagged in and just gets destroyed?
Yes.
Like in seconds. It's because the first one I went back and watched it, the second one made me question if the first one was good, and I don't know if I would describe the first one as good, but it's better than this.
Yes,
there are jokes, there is some kind of structure. I was talking to Koopa about this last night over text, but I was just saying like it's crazy because in the first one, the big plot for Michael is that everyone's taking it easy on him during baseball, and he is completely unfazed by it. Yes. He's like, okay, cool. Oh man, both these movies ultimately just show off like, isn't LeBron James or Michael Jordan or the Warner Brothers library cool? Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're going to see this movie, do not see it in theaters. Don't fucking spend it.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah, listen, if you're already paying for HBO Max, watch it while it's free. Get some snacks.
If not, maybe look into piracy.
Yeah. But like you mentioned, like there are some like instances in this movie that like are fun. LeBron James as an actor he's not bad. And there's another movie.
He's pretty good.
There's another movie that LeBron James did a few years ago that I recommend everybody.
Is it Trainwreck?
It was Trainwreck. I thought he was good in Trainwreck. I thought he was fun.
He's great in Trainwreck.
Yeah.
John Cena's great in Trainwreck.
Yeah,
so that's the thing. So I looked into because this is a sequel that has been talked about since 1996 when the first one came out.
Yes.
So we're looking at what, like 15 years.
I remember first hearing rumblings of this sequel.
No, 25 years. 25 years of like building.
Yeah, if you read like the production history and like rumor mill of this movie,
so
it's extensive.
Yeah, the sequel at one point was going to be called Skate Jam, where it was going to be Tony Hawk skateboarding with the Looney Tunes. It was going to be Spy Jam with Jackie Chan, then that got changed into Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Yeah, and
it was going to be Golf Jam at one point.
And I remember there was there was a version of this movie for some reason. It was at like the for basketball people they'll understand this, but Blake Griffin was originally penned to be in the Space Jam sequel because of
another basketball player who legitimately has comedic chops.
Yeah, he's funny. Blake Griffin's really
a funny guy. I like Blake Griffin.
But yeah, it was like there's rumor mill of that he was going to be in it. There's a very funny video of it's Blake Griffin at like a comedy festival or something, but like they do like a table read of Space Jam, and he is playing the titular role of Michael Jordan in that movie. So I got everybody thinking like, oh boy, like is this the thing? Because and even then, like
it had to be LeBron.
Yeah, it had to have been it
had to be LeBron.
Like if you're gonna wait this long to do it, like the only person that this could have been is LeBron James to like capitalize on like the hype.
Yeah, or maybe Boban. That's if it was a live action show.
Oh boy, that would have been fun. But
no, but yeah, it's just like the most frustrating thing is that like the Looney Tunes parts are kind of fun, and then it's like there could have been a script out there that was significantly better than this, and it could have like had like legitimate jokes playing back on the first one. You could have made the serververse work, but it's like it is just so empty inside of just a shallow attempt at Warner Brothers shoving every IP into one thing.
Yeah. And again, it just feels very shameless and cash grabby, and it's unfortunate because, like we mentioned, like the original Space Jam is not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's fun. It's got heart. It's you like I was kicking myself for not buying a Bill Murray Space Jam jersey at a convention like 2 years ago.
It's number 22. You should go for it.
I really want to. If I could go back in time and do it, I would. But like the movies, go ahead.
I was going to say another thing I like is that the additions to the team. I like that they added Gossamer to the team in replacement of Pepe Le Pew.
Yes.
I don't like that they made Daffy a coach. I thought that wasn't fun at all.
Yeah, that felt like it
wasn't funny at all. He didn't really add anything to it. And the whole thing is in the first one, Michael was a player coach, and then LeBron needs to be coached by Daffy Duck. I don't like how they disrespected Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, I agree.
He was a referee in the first one, and he's just a doormat in the second one.
Yeah, and even then, like, they're just like,
why do they give so much time to Granny? Yeah. Granny gets more time than Tweety.
I know, and like even then, like you think about like all like the other like in like universe characters that they use, like especially when they call that like initial meeting of like the Toons in the first Space Jam. Yeah. Like, there's so many like Looney Tunes IP they can use. Like, they don't have the like I forget the mouse's name, but like the ones that like does the announcing.
The announcers,
yeah,
they're great.
Like that would have been great, and like like you mentioned, like who was watching this movie and asking for more Granny? Like, who?
It's also like the first time that they did a Granny role that wasn't voiced by June Foray, to my knowledge. So it's like, why show off that you don't have the old voice of Granny?
Yeah, it was very, very strange.
Was that haters gonna hate joke worth it?
It was so jarring.
I don't know. I thought I really did not enjoy Space Jam.
Yeah, it was like I'm with you. Like, this movie was definitely like it was something. It was hollow. Like I did not. It was hollow. It felt lifeless. And listen, this movie was naturally. We'll see how the second week goes, but this movie slam dunked at the box office this weekend with.
It's gonna make. They're absolutely gonna make another. They're absolutely gonna make another.
Yeah, and listen, I hope I hope that they do something else with the Looney Tunes IP in live action, because there's so much. Yeah, it could work. Like Skate Jam, I'd watch the shit out of that movie. That'd be a lot of fun. Like, it might be too little, too late, but like, I feel like they could there's so much untapped potential with this IP. Like you meant, there's the new Looney Tunes stuff is really good. There's a reboot of the Tiny Toons coming out sometime in the future. Right. So like, it's definitely like Looney Tunes stock is most definitely going to be on the rise.
Even if you just want to have them get mashed up with one other universe, like Looney Tunes meets Superman, I'll watch it. Sure.
Yeah.
I do have one last piece of trivia for Space Jam: A New Legacy. Do you know who was the original director of this film?
The original of Space Jam: A New Legacy?
Yeah.
I do not.
It was Justin Lin, and he left the project to direct Fast 9 and The Fast and Furious 10.
Wow. What a choice.
Yeah, so dodged a bullet on... I don't know. He's going to make a ton of money regardless.
Yeah, listen. What's stronger than LeBron James' family?
They literally talk about it in this movie that family's most important, and his son's literally named Dom.
Yeah, it's oh man, it's so good.
It's so close to a Fast and Furious reference, but of course that's an NBC Universal property.
I think like the one also like last thing about this movie that bugged me was that they spend so like you mentioned when they initially animate LeBron James, they definitely do a good job explaining like the physics of the Looney Tune world, but you don't see that paid off the same way you see it in the original Space Jam.
It's power ups. Like the first one, it's Michael learning how to be a tune. The second one is LeBron learning his son's video game.
Yeah, and like I get it. It's two different strokes for different blokes, but it was just so not my speed. So
yeah, I really did not enjoy it, and I can enjoy like children's movies. Like I have no problem like throwing on other children's movies, even dumb ones. Like it's just this one. It didn't take itself seriously. It didn't take you seriously. It doesn't take anything seriously, and it's not funny enough to make up for that.
Yeah. So if you're gonna watch this movie, watch it for free. That's all.
If you're gonna watch this movie, think about it for a little.
Yeah, watch something else. But it will be my first one. Watch the original Space Jam. It's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a better use of your time, and you get 30 more minutes back.
The mouse. He picked the mouse. Like
Newman's great. You get some great Bill Murray jokes in that. Like Larry's not white. Larry's clear. Or towards the end when Michael's going for the dunk and he's already off the ground and Bill just goes, "Michael, I'm open."
He's fixing a divot.
Also, like the entire Basketball Jones montage is so funny in the first one.
Yeah, I dig it. Spit shines. Like
that's actually like I did not enjoy that.
It's just Sylvester.
I don't know what's weirder. I don't know what was weirder. Was it every character spitting to clean it, or the fact that it worked?
The answer is both.
Yeah.
But that's going to be our synopsis of and review of Space Jam.
Are you only bringing me on for non-Marvel and DC movies now?
Yes, of course. That's
I'm with it.
That's the rule. Tune in a few months when we give an in-depth breakdown of the Jackass movie. But one last thing I did want to throw in here at the end, because we talked about how Space Jam might not necessarily be a great movie, but it's a fun movie and people enjoy it. And this is a trend that I saw on Twitter this weekend, where people were posting movies that have like rotten scores on Rotten Tomatoes, but they're movies that they like really, really enjoy. So I'm curious, is there a movie that you like that you like that's like that's like certified rotten, but like you really enjoy it?
Oh yeah, and I tweeted this. It's Basketball.
Oh man, that's a good choice.
I love Basketball with all my heart. I think it's a great movie. It's bad, but I think it's great.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah, that's a 2001, 2002 film starring Matt Stone and Trey Parker of South Park, directed by I think Jeffrey Zucker.
David Zucker, I believe.
David Zucker.
Yeah.
I don't want to look up who Jeffrey Zucker is.
I heard your sister's going out with Squeak.
Oh, the best.
It's so good.
I swear to God, if you guys rag on me 13 or 14 more times, I'm out of here. It's the best. I love Basketball. I think it's such a funny sports movie. It's just so much fun, top to bottom. Like, it's a silly movie. I haven't watched it in many years. I'm sure there's stuff that hasn't aged well, but it's ultimately just like, it's fun. I love it. I love it because it's like it's goofy. I think stupid comedy has a place.
I agree.
But the key word there is comedy. It needs to be fun.
Yeah. See, I have two choices for this. One of which I wasn't surprised to see got rotten score. The other one I'm kind of surprised. One of them was Osmosis Jones. I love.
I do not like Osmosis Jones.
You do not.
I do not. I get grossed out by the Bill Murray.
Oh man,
you want to vomit.
I don't know. It's just I'm able to look past it. I think it's funny.
I do love David Hyde Pierce as Drex.
Yes.
Or Drix.
Yes,
that's a fun cast.
I love like one of my favorite jokes in the movies that they kept like it's like one of the actresses like names. They kept like using like the actual like actress's name that's like voicing her, not the actual character.
I would not be able to.
Hold on, I'm googling it right now. Also, Chris Rock is funny. I think Chris Rock.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah, it's Brandy Norwood. She voices one of the. She's voicing like the female counterpart to Chris Rock in this movie. But they keep her name's Leia in the movie, but there's like multiple scenes where like Chris Rock can't not call her Brandy. She's just like, he's like, Brandy.
That's
I
weird.
mean Leia. What are you doing here? Like, it's just like, it's funny. The other one is Rush Hour 2.
Okay,
that's one of my favorite comedies of all time. I think that movie's a lot of fun.
I thought of a second one. truly my favorite comedy of all time is Hot Rod, and that has 39%
Oh
on Rotten Tomatoes,
man,
which is a travesty to me.
It's
Hot
tragic.
Rod is I would argue and say that's one of the top 3 comedies of the past 20 years.
I agree with you. That's a phenomenal.
I love
film.
Hot Rod so much. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that's a fun one. But.
Same runtime as Space Jam.
That's just how I'm.
88 minutes.
That's how I'm going for the barometer of like how good a movie is. Does it have a longer runtime than Space Jam?
Yeah, I'll say Hot Rod and Basketball are my 2.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section down below. What are some of your favorite bad movies? Because I love a bad movie. Like, bad movies are great.
And I don't want to see answers like Sharknado or The Room.
Yeah, like don't get
I mean,
come on, like
movies that are just considered bad and not like so bad it's good.
Yeah,
movies that are generally considered bad that you undeniably think are good.
Yeah, like it's okay. Like everybody has those. Like we said, like we just listed a couple. I'm sure there's plenty of other movies that I like that have like shitty Rotten Tomato scores. Like I have,
of course.
But it is what that's the way the cookie crumbles. But Sean, thank you for joining me on this journey.
It was a delight.
Yeah, through the I forget what it's called, the Warnerverse. I don't know.
The Serververse.
The Serververse. Yeah, there we go. That's oh man. What a movie. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this week's episode, folks. Again, if you want to watch this movie, it's available on HBO Max for I think the next like 2 weeks or whatever. So watch it.
I think until like early August.
Yeah, watch it if you want to. If you don't want to. Like this is
if you're on the fence, don't.
Yeah, watch something else. There's plenty of great content and movies out there. Like the second season of I Think You Should Leave, which I haven't watched yet, but I heard it's good.
You should have brought me to talk about something I love, Kyle.
Next time, we'll talk about it. When I do a top 5 of shitty reality shows or fun reality shows, we'll talk about it.
I will slowly shoehorn my way into talking about Tim Robinson.
We'll figure it out. I'm here for that. But yeah, Sean, is there? Let the people know where they can find you, because again, you might think you don't do a lot, but you're a fun follow on social media. So
thank you so much. On Twitter, you can follow me at Captain Toney. Toney is spelled like money, but with a T. You can follow me on Letterboxd if you want to hear me talk about movies. That is at FrogmanS or Frogmans. And I don't know if you guys have been trying to find TikToks. There's this guy I really like on TikTok. His handle is at DougFartDogless. He does some fun stuff with food. I recommend checking him out.
I'm a fan. And, I think he's great.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. And yeah, I have some parting words. Before I get to those parting words, I would like to say, please check out the Ooh La La, Don't Mind If I Do podcast.
Yes.
We might have an episode coming out eventually. Who knows?
Please do. Listen, a podcast that talks about the finer things in life. 2/3 of the Ooh La La podcast have been on my podcast.
Get Jared on your podcast to talk about pens.
I mean, I will.
I promise.
I will find. I will find.
You might get 2 hours out of stuff from him.
I'm here for it. So.
Yeah. Okay, I do have some parting words though.
Please.
Everybody, get up! It's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance. Do your dance at the Space Jam. All right. Also, why is it called Space Jam? The first one doesn't go to space. The second one doesn't go to space.
Oh, you're not dying. I guess the Serververse is kind of in space.
I think the commercial that it's based off. Well, no, the Serververse is undeniably on the internet. I think in the first one, because it's based off a commercial, I think they go to the space in a commercial.
You are correct.
I guess so. Okay, yeah. That answers my questions. Thank you so much for having me on Koop'd Up. Koop.
Yeah, anytime, Sean. And listen, again, folks, you can follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ, on Instagram at KoopaNJ if you're into that sort of thing. And again, follow the show at Koop'd Up Pod across social media. We're available not only just on YouTube in video form, but also on sites like Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you might be getting your podcasts. Make sure to, leave a like, leave a review, subscribe to the podcast feed. Any sort of traction we can garner is much appreciated. And listen, next week we'll be talking about something hopefully a little bit better and maybe a little bit worse. But either way, we're going to have fun with it. So until then, folks, everybody have yourselves a wonderful evening and take care.
God bless.